everybody, and welcome back to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. This is episode number 50. As always, I'm Charlie, and I'm joined tonight by Calvin and Jack. Full house tonight. Calvin, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, lad. Yourselves?
Aye, not bad, mate, not bad. And Jack, how are you?
I'm good, considering the result last night. Obviously, I graduated, if you like, for the changing room, so that was good. Really positive, and mental health's in a good place now. So, doing well.
Good stuff. Well, there's only really one place to start, and it's Castle Grayskull last night. So, Calvin, I'll come to you first. About 6:45-ish, the team comes out, mate, and it's a pretty strange team. I don't think you would have predicted that on the Fan Hub app. So, what was your thoughts when you seen the starting 11?
Bizarre, mate. Absolutely bizarre. I just thought, I looked at it and I thought that this is part of the problem. Like, chopping and changing, and no, I don't. He definitely, from our point of view, Maloney doesn't know his best 11, and he doesn't know his best formation. Just looking at the team sheet last night, I mean, I didn't think there's anyone in the world other than Maloney that could guess what the team's got to be. I think anybody knows. It changes so much. I tell you what, that team that started there last night will not be the team that starts at the weekend against Arbroath. It'll change. It's beyond crazy, and it's not. We're trying to strive for consistency. There's no consistency. Like the change of the goalkeeper again. Like for me, the biggest one was why was Muller dropped? For me, Muller's been one of our best players, if not better players. I cannot understand why you would drop him. Why would you do that? It doesn't. I don't think it enhances our performance at all, or it gives us more of a chance of winning. I'm getting dropped. That was crazy to me. Why Paul McGinns came back into the side is crazy as well. I don't know. Obviously are very defensive with 7 defenders on the park. Very defensive. For me, it's the same old chestnut. For me, I don't like to go to Ibrox and Parkhead and sit back. I think you've got to roll up there and not give them respect. I think you need to get in their face and make it ugly for them because I think they struggle. We've seen that in the semi-final. Like I said that last on Monday there when we recorded, said that you need to come out and attack these teams fast. And when I seen the 7 defenders, I thought, nah, no way.
Reminded me a wee bit of Aberdeen when they came to East Road a few years ago in the Cup, that they started with 7 defenders on the pitch and they came to frustrate us, and it worked because I think they won on penalties that night. But it was a strange lineup. And Jack, what did you make of Stevenson starting at centre mid?
You know, to be fair, like I've seen what Maloney was trying to do, because Stevenson obviously started off as a centre mid when he was younger, and also with Whittaker, obviously the older Whittaker got Jack Ross actually moved him into CDM, and it worked because I think Stevenson has the most full backs begin as midfielders, and so they have that ability to play there, and I think it worked quite well. I think Stevenson, you could put him anywhere on the pitch, and he'd put in a shift, and he'd be solid. So I wasn't overly surprised in a way. To be honest, when I seen the formation, I actually, in the lineup, I had a suspicion that Stevenson would play midfield, and it's good to have him in as that anchor because you need somebody that's going to put in a shift like that. So I wasn't overly concerned or surprised, to be honest.
I think the biggest one for me, well, 2 biggest ones for me, was that Macy came straight back into the team, which I vehemently disagree with. I think that Dabrowski has done nothing wrong.
And he hasn't.
Has been dropped, and what does that say for Dabrowski's confidence that he played 2? St Mirren, he never really had much to do other than the goal, which he couldn't do anything about. And man of the match on
in a derby.
Sky Sports man of the match at least in a derby, and Macy just comes straight back in. And Muller as well. Like, why drop him?
He was man of the match last time as well, was he? No,
he played really well.
Strange decision making.
Nobody really played well against St Mirren, but you know what I mean? Like, he was one of the standout players. So, frustrating for squad, and hopefully, you're right, Calvin. It'll not be the same team on Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
I've no idea. I mean, does Melkerson start? Does Henderson start? I mean, does Jasper start? Does Mitchell start? Like, I have no idea. No idea.
Aye, for sure. So, the game kicks off, Jack, and then 4 minutes later, penalty Rangers, which everyone really expected they'd get a penalty, but probably no 4 minutes into the game. So, for my money, you can't give early penalties away and expect to take anything from the game. Jack, what did you make of the penalty? Do you think it is a penalty?
Clumsy for Paul McGinn, to be honest. You can't do that at Ibrox because you know what's going to happen. Penalty Rangers. We joke about it for a reason. And I think, to be honest, it's about the only time I'll say that it was justified. I want to say that Rangers fans singing F the SFA is one of the most ironic things I've ever heard, because you get everything after them. But anyway, that aside,
for the SFA.
I think, yeah, it was clumsy for him again. You can't be doing that at Ibrox, because it gives the referee a reason, and we know that Walsh loves them and is going to give everything in their favour, because we didn't get anything our way. I think there was a few Rangers players who'd been booked for diving for my money. But yeah, it was clumsy for Paul McGinn. It really was. I think if Paul McGinn hadn't been clumsy there, we would have had a good half, and it would have been 0-0 at half time. So yeah, it was clumsy, it was unnecessary, and it was quite. It's a bit. I think it typifies some of our issues right now, that sometimes we are clumsy, that we have the ability to play well, but then we'll have a moment of madness and that's it.
I think on that as well, though, Ryan Kent's going to the byline. He's going nowhere with it. So
he doesn't need to. Paul McGinn did not need to intervene there, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, I was quite frustrated with that, because it's silly mistakes like that that's costing us games recently.
Yeah, for sure. And well, you see that Livingston, St Mirren, now Rangers, three
Celtic
silly mistakes.
as well.
Celtic as well. You're right.
You're right. Too easily.
You're right. And also the penalty that we gave away as well. But Calvin, after we go 1-0 down, but we seem to come back into the game a wee bit. We had Mitchell puts a free kick on the roof of the net, and then Nisbet has a chance. So what did you make of us after we went 1-0 down?
Just to step back a wee bit about the just to mention the penalty myself, I feel like it wasn't he is pulling Jack's shirt when he goes down, like he has got a grip of his jersey, but then at the same time, look back at the Hearts game. I mean, every time the ball went up to Nisbet, that the Hearts had a hold of his jersey, and that we never got any free kicks. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and the referee can't be confident, because he can't. When you look at the replays on Sportscene, they looked at it for every angle, and they couldn't decide whether it was or it wasn't. So how can you give it? How can you give it? And it is just taking the mick. When I seen it, I thought, oh, just F off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is brutal, man. Like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious, honestly. And I mean, Boyle used to get branded a diver. I mean, look at Kent going in the box at Easter Road and getting a penalty and getting one there and again. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that was Boyle, folk would be asking questions, and I didn't think we would have got it either. At the other end, I don't think he would have had the balls to give it. But Paul McGinn, it's your vice captain for you. Can maybe experienced. That's your vice captain, like, and he needs to get his head a wobble, like. But to come on to it's half chances, isn't it? It's half chances, but the Mitchell one was a really good free kick. He definitely got some whip on it to get it up and down. And it's nice to see that he's confident enough to come in there and take the free kicks and, put himself forward. I think he's been really promising since he joined. However, it's so close yet so far, isn't it? Do you know what I mean, with these chances? I mean, the Nisbet one, a half chance, isn't it? It flashes across the box as defender right, touch tight to him, and he just gets a flick on it. And McGregor's a good goalie. He'll do well to beat him for there at that sort of speed. But I don't think Nisbet had a lot of time to think about it. Routine save, really. I didn't think it was a cutting-edge chance. And the free kick was, again, close yet so far. Really not much to really say about it.
No, for sure. Calvin, I know I want to ask you a question on Nisbet before we move on to the rest of the first half. Do you feel sorry for Nisbet now with all the criticism he's getting? I think obviously we spoke maybe Monday there about how he's obviously dealing with the loss of his dad and what have you. But do you feel sorry for him that he's getting this much stick? Jack, I'll come to you as well after that.
I've said that for months. I do feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him because if you go back and listen to podcasts, I'd probably say for about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I've been saying he's getting no service. They've played him up top on his own for the majority of the year, and he's hardly got any service. I mean, the lad has got quality, and we've seen that last season. And I just think that he's definitely. I mean, like I'm saying, look at him. He's a type of striker that likes the ball in at his feet and likes to create things, likes to take defenders on. I mean, you've seen that in the cup final when he put the ball through. I think it was part of Vickers' legs and had that shot. He likes to get the ball at his feet and take players on. He's not the type of player that you're going to whip whip balls into the box and he's going to stick it away with a header and all that. Like he doesn't seem like a type of striker to me. He's got a wee bit more about him in terms of like footwork, and he's a wee bit classier than that. So that type of service he's been getting for the wings, it's not really his game. Ken, that's what I'd expect if we had a Grant Holt or someone up front, big balls into the box for a big guy to heat it down, knock it down to the wee guy. But he's up there on his own, Ken. So I do feel sorry for him, and obviously he's lost his dad, who was his mentor and his best friend and all of that. Do you know what I mean? So couldn't imagine what that's like, and feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him. I think he's been absolutely starved this year. Like the two centre mids we've played this year, Newell and Doyle Hayes and Campbell, they've given him absolutely nothing. And he's dropping so deep as well. The problem is he's dropping deep against Hearts and that to pick up the ball at the halfway line and our own half at the edge of the D, and then trying to get up and lift up his head, and he's passing to where he should be. So he's been chucked under the bus for me, but he doesn't really help himself as well. I don't think he helps himself. There's a lot of big chances he has missed. He's missed a lot of big chances. Like he should be putting that one away when he's 3-1-on-1 with the Liddy keeper. I composed Kevin Nisbet last year. He's got to put that away. That Celtic one, he's got to score that. Do you know what I mean? There's a few others in there as well. Couple of chances against Hearts and that. Like he's no helping himself by not putting these away. I've quite a lot missed against St Mirren as well. Like just cutting edge chances. Like it's no good enough. But I do feel sorry for him at the end of the day.
And Jack, your thoughts on Nisbet? Do you feel sorry for him? Or do you
My
think
opinion's changed a wee bit. I think if you've listened to me the past couple of weeks, I've probably been a big Kevin Nisbet critic, and I'm beginning to change my mind a wee bit because I think it's Calvin's point. I think I've really come to Calvin's way of thinking that it is because he's not getting much service. You know what I mean? And I think for me it was all very heat at the moment. As people know, I think you get quite passionate in the stands at times. And I think it was all heat at the moment. Oh, Nisbet, for God's sake, whatever, because you're angry at the time. When you're in the stands and you're watching the game as it happens, you're not evaluating. When you go back and you look back and you go, well, actually, that ball was poor. And I think what would be great for Nisbet is if he has someone up front with him that can help him with that service and help him get a bit like when Doidge was sort of at his prime. So if you see what I mean, when Doidge was actually
before he got injured,
on top of his game before he got injured, him and Nisbet were working well together. So I think we need, and even when Boyle was in there as a striker, him and Nisbet worked well together. So I think Nisbet needs that strike partner there. So I do feel sorry for him. At the same time, I think this stuff like that, like he did at the Cove game, that's not going to help your case, son. You know what I mean? I think I'd respect him more if he'd scored there and it's just not done that. So I think that for me is that little bit of petulance is still there for me. But I am beginning to feel sorry for him because he's in a team where there's not much creativity, there's not much flair, and he's a striker that needs it around him. I mean, even at Dunfermline, you look at when he's at Dunfermline, he had that. He had players like that were providing him with that. When he first came to us, he had players that even go back further in his career. At Wraith Rovers, So I think if he has that effective strike partner and he has that service, he'll improve.
Yeah, because him and Doidge last year had 21 goals between them. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think Hibs were so good last year, playing two up front. This year we've completely came away from that, and then you chuck Boyle in the mix there as well. Had 12 goals. I mean,
we're definitely missing up front anyway. People that if Nisbet's no firing will, contribute with a goal. And I think I was hearing a stat on, I think it was Longbangers on Monday. They were saying that in the St Mirren game, or it was maybe the Livingston game, one of the two, put 38 crosses into the box. 38 crosses into the box. And if you've got Nisbet who's no firing, say we had another striker up front, like a Melkerson, or even if we had a centre midfielder who was getting in the box, one of them's going in the net, Like you didn't put 38 crosses into the box and no score for at least one of them. So I think as much as I feel sorry for Nisbet, I don't think he helps his case a wee bit with the whole Cove celebration and what have you. But interesting thought. So obviously going back to the first half, we limited Rangers to not a huge amount of chances. Sorry, first half after they went 1-0 up, but the chances that they did have, they came from terrible passing. And that's really what we've been saying on the podcast for a few weeks, especially in the midfield. Our passing's shocking just now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's no ideal. So Last point on the first half, Calvin. Shaun Maloney believes that we should have had a penalty in the first half. What? Obviously, you said that Nick Walsh wouldn't have the balls to do it if it was up the other end. So, and that's true. So, what did you make of Hibs' penalty claim?
I missed it. I've not seen it. I've been trying to find it online. I'll be honest with you. I was watching the game, but I never caught that bit. And I've seen it, and I've been looking online, but of course I can't find anything online. And of course, Sportscene never covered it either. So I think that tells you all you need to know, really. Do you know what I mean?
Jack, I've not seen it either, but have you seen it? Or I've heard it was it should have been, but that's
to be honest. See, when we go to Castle Grayskull, I can't. I mean, I cannot watch the game because I think it's just too much for me. You know, I think a derby, it's okay. If you lose, it's hurtful, but I just don't like losing to Rangers, So I usually hide behind the couch when we're playing them, but I've not seen it,
Fair. He said in his interview it should have been a penalty, so but I'm really just going to go based
he's
on what he
quite a
said.
level-headed guy, Maloney, as well, so it probably was.
Yeah,
I've looked on it, and the Sportscene and that, Sportscene and that haven't shown it, so I think that tells you all you need to know. The SFA and that are, the SFA for me, they're so keen to keep this two-horse race going because, let's be honest, it looks like Celtic are getting back in front and they're dying to keep their beloved Rangers in there as well. So it was always going to happen. You're not going to get now. You need to play when you go through to Glasgow. You need to play a next to perfect game. No mistakes. No leaving any sort of decisions up to the referee because you're not getting it. Not a chance. You need to play an almost perfect game with no mistakes to get a sniff of anything. Has to be like that. Has to be like that. So, nah.
You're right. You're right, mate. So we'll look at the second half, and there's really only one major talking point for the second half, and it's Rangers' second goal. So, Jack, what did you make of the second goal? I've got a point on it. I'll make after you make yours.
To be honest, I just think it's typical for what we've been doing the past couple of weeks. You know, we seem to be getting into the game. We seem to be doing quite well. Then, just almost out of nothing, we give them too much. We give them too much of a time on the ball, and they break quickly, and that's it. I mean, I don't really know what we were up to for that at all. Because I think Rocky pushed up. I think it all came for that we were too high, and Rangers just sort of broke quickly, and that's it. There you go, 2-0, game over. And I think we'd already gained ourselves a mountain to climb after getting a penalty away so early, but you go 2-0 down at Ibrox, that's it. You know, and I was sitting there and I seen 2-0 Rangers and I go, right, is this going to be, are we looking at what happened to Hearts? And I was scared at that point, but I think we played well, but the thing is it wasn't coming. Like I said, just before the Rangers goal, I thought we were getting, obviously I was looking at on One Football on the live text, we were getting caught, we were getting corners, we were seeming to be putting quite a bit of pressure on them, and then out of nowhere, we maybe make a silly mistake, and then that's it, Rangers go up the other end and score. So I think that annoys me. We need to get used to this, to transitioning from defence into attack and then back again. So that's something I've noticed. We're no great at that. We'll attack, but if we get caught, that's it. And I think that happened in the St Mirren game as well. That mistake with Jake Doyle-Hayes all came from we had a move break down and suddenly we don't know what to do. We need to get that instilled. It's all right. Transitioning from defence into attack is a good thing. It's how to get back. You need to keep your shape or else you're finished. And that's, I think, a problem. We didn't keep our shape. And we look quite vulnerable out on the counter of this. And I've said this for the whole of this season, but under Maloney, particularly because of the style of football he wants to play, it's not against Maloney and his style of football. It's because the team, the players, we can't seem to keep our shape. And that's dangerous, especially against a team like Rangers that have fast players in there. You've got guys that are going to cause you problems, like Hadji, like Kent, like Morelos, that are just going to get in there and that's it. And let's be honest, you give Morelos a chance like that, he's no missing. Simple as that. Morelos is prolific with those sorts of chances. Scored one almost identical to that against their wee brothers for Gorgie when they beat them 5-0. So yeah, I was disappointed in that because it's all fine and well playing high and everything like that. We need to have that switch to go right. We need to get back now, and that doesn't seem to be there.
For me, there's 3 layers to the goal. So there's too many easy passes. So Josh Lloyd gives the ball away, then Tavernier picks the ball up, and nobody's pressing towards him. Mitchell, and that's tracking back. Easy pass through. Rocky is in cloud cuckoo land. He's nowhere to be seen. It's the same that happened at Celtic Park. Like, he's nowhere to be seen in no man's land. And then Macy doesn't want anything to do with it. The shot comes at him and he ducks. Like, now you're a 6'7" goalkeeper. You shouldn't get beat that easy.
Dabrowski would have done, but sorry, that's something I forgot to mention. I think Dabrowski would have coped a bit better with that, to be honest.
I mean, if your auntie had ball, should be your uncle, mate. But it is like football's a game of what ifs, and you might we'll never know.
Aye.
And you're right, Jack. I think Dabrowski probably would have saved that. But
I think it was a bullet a shot. Like, it was an absolute bullet a shot.
I think though, like
range, I thought it was quite.
I think he would have at least have attempted to save it.
Macy, it looked, from what the highlights showed, it looked like Macy ducked, and that doesn't fill me with confidence. But Calvin,
it looked like he was falling back as it was going in like that. Like,
Calvin, what's your thoughts on the second goal, mate? Before we move into the last wee talking point about the game,
I feel like it's Raj. Like, you can't play 7 defenders in that 8, and then like you got upset about Rocky's positioning. It's like the guys can't. He's been playing in a system. You've changed the system again, and I mean, what is happening out in that wing? Who is following that pass? Is it Rocky? Is he centre back? Is he left centre back? Like, what is he doing? Like, do we know? Does he know? It doesn't look like it to me. We're all over the joint. And then, to be fair, it's a pass through. It's a good pass. It's a good ball through, and it's a good finish, to be fair. It's a really good, like I said, it's a bullet a shot. And I probably don't think any of the two of the goalies would have saved that. I think he really, really hit with some venom. And I think he does that because he hates us, And I hate him, so I'm happy about that. But I think it was... killed the game, completely killed the game. Like,
so last.
I actually thought it should have been a penalty to Rangers because I think Macy handballed it. Did he know?
Oh well,
isn't that pathetic?
Aye. So last wee point, and it's been a talking point on Twitter after the past few games. It's sort of maybe one that will maybe take about two or 3 minutes to talk about. So, Jack, I'll start with you on this one, mate. Do you think some fans are right to be frustrated with Maloney this early into his tenure?
I'm going to be honest, and I said this before, is like we've radically changed things since do I think it was wise that we did it when we did? Probably not, but you can't have it both ways. Folk were moaning that we're not ambitious enough. We bring in an ambitious manager, and then they're moaning because we brought in an ambitious manager. You know, you can't have it both ways. And that's it. You're moaning about not having ambition. We have a bit of ambition. You're moaning because we went with the ambitious choice. Because we could have went with Mr. Plain, like McInnes or somebody like that. And which, let's be honest, a lot of these folk probably wanted, despite the fact they'll not admit to it. And then that would have been that. And we probably would have trudged our way to fifth, and we would have signed players like blimmin' God knows who. We'll have signed half the Aberdeen team or whatever. But Shaun Maloney's come in, he's made exciting signings. He's obviously got a philosophy. I think people do have a right to be frustrated when results aren't the way they are on the pitch. That's fair enough. You're a fan. I get frustrated when we lose. That's normal. But you've got to realise Maloney isn't going to, and we said this for the minute we got him, he's not going to come in and revolutionise things overnight. This is a process. And if we've got to stick to the process, because I think Maloney, and I said that on Monday, when Maloney gets to the summer window, he gets the properly, he gets what he wants, and he can flush the Jack Ross out the squad, he can get the philosophy changed properly, that's it. We will be on for a winner. But you can't blame him when he's got some, like we had that horrific summer window, which I think to this day has still been our downfall. You had that horrific summer window. You obviously had all the chaos around Jack Ross leaving. So I think we've just got to accept that Rome wasn't, I keep saying it every time we come on here after we lose, Rome wasn't built in a day. We've just got to trust the process. And that's it, because Maloney will bring results. So I've got to say, stick with him. I can see why folk are frustrated, but please stick with him. And I've got to say, for the folk that are moaning about ambition all the time, we got the ambition. So you can't have your cake and eat it in this situation.
Alvin, your thoughts?
I think people have got the right to be frustrated with him. I don't think he's helping himself right now. I don't think he's helping himself. I feel personally like I'm looking at the team, and I could tell you the strongest team for me has got to be, well, either Macy or Dabrowski in goals. Take your pick. For me, there's no much between them. What do they say? Two cheeks of the one arse for me. They're both pretty much the same, to be honest with you, right? Now, I would go 3 at the back that he's doing. I would go strongest team if available. You've got to go Hanlon, Porteous, and Rocky as your back 3. Left wing back, probably Doig or Mitchell. Right wing back, you've got to go Cadden. You've got to go, for me, I'd probably go with Newell and Henderson in the middle, or even potentially Allen and Henderson, 2 creative players. And then Doig and Nisbet or Mueller and Nisbet up top, or something like that. But what he's going for now is beyond crazy. He's not helping himself. He definitely is sending the message he's sending to me as a supporter every time I see his team sheet is he's no idea. He's no idea who his best team is. He doesn't know his best 11. Now, I'm obviously going to cut him some slack because he's been plagued with injuries. He signed Harry Clark. Harry Clark's injured. He's missing Hanlon at the moment. He's missing Melkerson's no match fit. Although we've not really seen much of Melkerson ever, so we can't really say we're missing him because we've never had him. Who else isn't there?
Joe Newell's out.
Joe Newell's out. Who's the other boy in the middle? McGuinness. He's played with injuries, but for me, as I said, he's no. I don't want to repeat myself, but he's no helping himself, and I can see why people are getting frustrated. The substitutes that he's making are crazy, man. Why he took on the derby? I think he took Mueller off and brought Dre Wright on. What are you doing? Why?
That is an odd one. That was an odd one for me.
For me, that's odd. I mean, he's even making like for like subs, like taking Stevenson off and putting Doig on. It's like I'm still not getting it. Why he's persistent with Josh Campbell, I don't know. So I can see why people are getting frustrated. However, like I said the other day, I don't think he's a million miles away from getting it right. I feel like a lot of focus. It's very easy to look at the stats of a game. It's very easy. It's very different to look at the stats from a game of football and then to actually watch a game of football and see what happened. It's 2 different things. And that St Mirren game I was at, and the one before it, the amount of dangerous balls we put into the box, it just takes someone to get on the end. He's right. It could have been 4 or 5-1. It should have been. It really should have been. But he's been unlucky. He's been really unlucky with things like that. And I think our fan base, regardless who's in charge, it could be Mourinho, be greeting about something. I just think that's the way it is, because I think as a fan base, I do think we're a wee bit unrealistic. I myself, I'm a wee bit unrealistic. I used to think Hibs would finish 3rd all the time. When you look at the stats, it's just not what happens. Unfortunately, I want it to happen, but it's not what happens. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a few games that he settled. I feel like when he brought those subs on in the Hearts game, I felt like he'd settled for a draw. I felt like last night personally, I felt like he set up to try and not lose the game rather than win it. Just by playing 7 defenders, I thought, was he trying? Because in the past, Tim's managers in the past would really go for that against Rangers and that. Because to be honest with you, when you get at them, they're not that great. We've seen that in the semi-final and that. They go a couple of goals down, the heat goes down. But yeah, I think it obviously needs time. I feel like Hibs have been quite good to him in the window. I feel like he got a better window than Jack Ross got. Jack Ross was grating about the fact he had a list of players he wanted and he didn't get them. I don't think there's a list of players Maloney wanted and he hasn't got. I feel like the club have been quite supportive. I mean, we went and put out 300 odd grand on Melkerson and brought him in. I mean, I think it's going to take time, but yeah. I think people do have the right to be frustrated because of his team selection and the subs. He needs to pick a team and he needs to go with it, because the chopping and changing to me is just sending the wrong signal. However, I am fully behind him. And I hope he gets it right. I want him to succeed. I think folk calling for his head need to have a word with themselves. You know what I mean? Like, too far.
It's just silly.
I think on that though, like, I get it. I get why people are frustrated, but then I think if you think if you remember that he's only had one transfer window, and like we've brought in players for the future. For my money, the transfer window wasn't that great. Like we've lost Boyle and we've not replaced them. I get we'll replace him in the summer, but we're still a centre midfielder light. We're still potentially a keeper light. You know, I think we're definitely a striker light if Melkerson's not going to be playing. So I think it wasn't a great transfer window. I mean, it was a decent transfer window, wasn't it? It wasn't as great as people are making out to be, I think. But I think also on that, like, he's only been here about 2 months. Can I mean, like, give him time. Like, I get it. I'm frustrated that we're losing at home to Livingston and Mirren, and we're getting held to extra time by Govan, whatever. But I think it's clicking. I can see it, and I can see it this time next year. We'll all be buzzing because we're playing class football. But it's gonna be a process. Like Jack Ross didn't lose his job overnight. You know what I mean? So it's gonna take time. But anyway, we'll put the Rangers game to bed, and we'll move on to a tough game on Sunday. So we're away to Arbroath on Sunday in the Scottish Cup. First time we've played them competitively since 2015 in the Scottish Cup 5th round that season. We ran out 3-1 winners thanks to goals from Frank Jajeje and Dylan McGeoch, either side of a Liam Gordon own goal. So, Jack, start with you, mate. Are you nervous heading into the game? Obviously, Dick Campbell's got them flying 2 points square at the championship. Are you confident? You nervous? What's your thoughts going on?
Yeah, I'm very, very nervous. You know, it's got Cup, it's got Hibs in it written all over it, unfortunately. I think Arbroath are a very, very good team. You know, Dick Campbell's done an outstanding job there. To have a part-time team sitting on the cusp of a promotion to the Premiership's absolutely outstanding. I mean, when was the last time that happened? You know, it would be the 1960s or something like that. So I think he's doing a fantastic job, and they're a good team, Arbroath. I wouldn't say they're maybe the best team technically, but they've got a group of lads that play for each other, and they've got a lot of hard men that are just going to put in a shift. So yeah, they're dangerous for us. I think all our fancy passing and flicking it about and this and that will be. I think it'll be our comeuppance if it does end up becoming a problem against Arbroath. So yeah, I am nervous because they are a very, very well drilled, good team right now. And the sort of situation that we're in, it's going to be a massive banana skin. So it's going to be a big tough test for Maloney because he's come up against a team that are going to be no nonsense. If he thought Cove were physical and difficult to deal with, then wait till you see Arbroath. That's Dick Campbell's modus operandi, being physical and difficult to deal with. So it's going to be tough. Also, Gayfield's not a nice ground to go to in terms of because it's right on the coast. You're getting battered by the wind. You're exposed to the elements, so it's going to be a tough one. You know, you've got that, you've got the hostile stadium in terms of conditions, you've got a very well drilled team. So yeah, I'm really, because Dick Campbell teams are always hard to beat.
Calvin, do you think this has got the makings of a cup upset?
No, I don't think so. Personally, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll beat them. I think I don't want to overreact. I mean, like I said, we're no million miles away from clicking and getting this right. I can see why people would think that this is a banana skin, and I know they're playing well, and I know we've struggled against opposition that are sort of bottom of the Prem. But nah, I think we've got to go there and play with confidence, and I think we should have too much quality to turn them over. I mean, I just feel like they're playing teams like Kilmarnock and that, which aren't really fantastic teams, you know what I mean? Killie and all that. So I still feel like we're a class above that, and I feel like with I think with the players we've got, like hopefully Melkerson makes an appearance. Hopefully they just it's a good game for us. I think it's a good game. I think it's a good time for us to not kickstart the season, but draw a line under what happened before and just go out there and express yourself, get on the ball, enjoy it. We don't really do cup upsets for me. We do a lot of we do a lot of Hampden trips, so I'm expecting another one. I think we'll get through this, and I think don't get me wrong, I think it'll be a tough game. And these wee teams that are in sort of the, you know, in the habit of winning at any level can be hard to beat. But I don't think this is going to be our Arbroath Rangers. I think we'll be all right personally.
I agree. I think it'll be a tough game, but I think we should get through it. So I think the question needs to be asked though, like, Jack, come to you again. What lessons do we need to learn from Cove going into this game? Obviously, extra time, nearly penalties with Cove. So what do you think we need to learn from that going into this game?
Main thing for me is take our chances, because we will get them. Obviously, Arbroath have got a part-time defence, which I'd like to say there's a difference that Cove are full-time, Arbroath are only part-time. So, Cove, they're maybe not going to have the same fitness levels as our players. So we will get the chances, but we need to take them. Because if we didn't take our chances and we let Arbroath come into the game, that's when it becomes tough. And I think that's the problem against Cove, is we didn't take our chances, but we let Cove come into the game. We let them sort of settle into their game plan. And that's what's happened, because Arbroath, I imagine Arbroath will probably sit back and play the hoof. I think that's what we can expect out of them. So we're just going to need to take the chances when we have them. That's that main thing, clinical. And also, we get physical. They're going to be nasty. They're going to be physical. They're going to get in our faces. We do the same. This is not the game for backwards, sideways, whatever. I like it when we're playing the likes of Rangers or that, because I think, it's good to try and open them up. When you're playing the likes of Arbroath, you just need to be direct, get battered into them, give them a taste of their own medicine. Get physical, get in their faces. That's like the problem against Cove. So try to play the fancy stuff against Cove, and it just doesn't work against these lower league teams. That's what, even Celtic against Alloa, Celtic were direct. Celtic got in their faces. That's what we need to do. It's as simple as that for me. Just get in their faces, be direct, take our chances.
I totally. And Calvin, yourself, mate, what lessons do we need to learn? Obviously, be clinical is a good one, but is there any other lesson you reckon we need to learn from the Cove game to go into this game on Sunday?
I think not just the Cove game. I think the past couple games, all that we've played, we need to, like Jack said, it's the elephant in the room. We need to take our chances. You can't win football games if you don't score. Do you know what I mean? And we're not scoring. So we need to score. This sounds is very the basics. To score, you need to shoot. If we want to beat them, we're going to have to shoot. We don't need to put boxes, crosses in the box and all these different things and play fancy football. We just need to kick the ball into the net. And I think that's what we need to do more of. We need to see people being brave. We need to see people shooting from 20 yards, 25 yards, 18 yards, outside the box, inside the box. I don't want to see balls whipped across the front of the goal. I want to see shots on target. I want to see working the goalkeeper. That's the only difference we can do, really. I don't think, other than that, we're playing that bad.
Aye, true. So we'll get score predictions and then we'll move on to the next talking points. So, Jack, what's your score prediction, mate?
I'm going to say 1-0 Hibs after extra time.
Calvin, your score prediction?
3-0 Hibs.
I'm going to go Hibs on penalties. I think it's going to go all the way, and it's going to be a class day out. I'm going, so I'm looking forward to it. But I think it's going to be a long afternoon. Value for money on the telly though, if you get a penalty shootout. So I think we'll provide that. So Hibs on penalties for me. So Hibs men aren't the only team playing in Scottish Cup action this weekend. The Hibs women are also in Scottish Cup action. They're at home at Livingston as they take on Gartcairn. First ever meeting between the sides, and Gartcairns currently sit top of the SWF Championship South on goal difference, and their latest result was a 6-0 win over Falkirk. So, Calvin, are you confident playing a third division side for the women?
Aye, they'll win it. No bother. They'll be all right. I think the women. Like I said last week. I think I said it as well as I probably could. I just feel like they have sort of not plateaued, but they've kind of maxed out. Like, they are where they are. They'll probably finish fourth. It's a bit stale in the league anyway. But hopefully the cup will inspire them, and the cup will, give them the will spur them on to perhaps get their hands on some silverware. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be up for it.
Yeah. And Jack, different question posed to you, mate. You've obviously seen Gartcairn this season in your work with Edinburgh City. So if you were to sum them up briefly for us, so what do they pose threat-wise, and what are they as a team?
First of all, the threat they pose is they've got a striker who's experienced in top flight football. their striker was at Forfar Farmington before they obviously went bust and had to withdraw from the league. Which I thought when I seen she went, I reckon when City played and she caused City a lot of problems. So she's a striker that's got top flight experience, and she was good for Forfar Farmington. Gartcairn as a side, they're very physical. I think that's what you expect from a part-time side in the third division. They also like to play the hoof a lot. They love to play the hoof, Gartcairn, which I don't think that'll catch us out. We've got players that are good in the air, but I think if they do enough of it, it maybe could put a lot of pressure on our back line. But the main thing is Gartcairn are very mean. They will try and basically bully us out of the game. They'll try and hack us out of the game as well, which I think, especially for Alexa, that could be a problem. Now, City one that didn't have a problems. Nicole Rutherford, our striker's very sort of a physical presence up front herself. Alexa's not a physical presence up front, and I think that's going to be a problem because the Gartcairn defenders, the two centre halves, if they both play, are both very mean. Like honestly, they're your typical lower league utility defenders that are not afraid to sort of get in there and go for you, if you see what I mean. They're not afraid to go for the ankles and everything like that. So I think Alexa's going to need to watch because, as we've talked about, she's an easy target for defenders. So I think Alexa's possibly going to struggle with that. But I think if we play our game, keep it on the deck and play our usual sort of attacking football, we'll run rings around them. Now, what I think is that it'll be a tough start to the game, but then they'll tire themselves out because I noticed that Gartcairn get tired very easily as well. But yeah, for me, they're a side, they're physical, they're mean, they like to play the hoof, and I think that's just typical of a top flight side. Now, I'd think, to me, they're not going to care about the cup because a cup run's a hindrance to them, to be honest, the position they're in. Now, in the Championship South, there are 5 teams level on points, fighting it out for 2 promotion places to the SWPL2. So they don't want a cup run. They want going out to us would be fine for them, would suit them just fine. So I think, to be honest, we're maybe not going to see the best version of them because they don't want the cup. Their main focus is promotion, and that's why they didn't really get a good go at in the SWF Cup either. Their league cup, that sort of kind of each league has its own league cups. So the SWPL 1 and 2 had like that. They didn't give a good go of it in that either. Now they're a team that were capable of winning it, but again, they're purely focused on the league. So to be honest, I don't think we'll see the best version of Gartcairn because they don't want to have to deal with a cup run when City, Livingston, Renfrew, they're all level on points with them and challenging for those promotion places in that title.
Aye, good point, mate. Good point. So I think it'll be an interesting one to look at to see if he goes with a rotated team because obviously Rhea, McCafferty, Jenna Penman, and Tony Malone, they're probably all deserving of a chance, I would imagine. And Emily Much, will she return to the sticks? I think it's going to be interesting to see what team he puts out. So, Calvin, pose this question to you before we get score predictions. Do you think this will be like the games against Stirling Uni and Dundee United where we put 10 past them, or do you think we've lost our mojo in front of goal?
No, we seem to have no problem in scoring against lower league opposition, so I think they'll be fine. I think it'll be quite similar. I think it'll probably be. I don't know. I feel like playing when we were playing against Stirling Union now, it's still like tail end of summer and that. Like the weather was quite nice and it was quite a nice afternoon, but I mean it's freezing outside and that now. So I think it might have an effect. I don't think the scoreline will be as high, but I don't think it'll affect them. I think we're quite good at playing, really suited playing against these teams.
Aye, for sure. So what's your score prediction, mate?
4-0 Hibs.
4-0. Jack, what's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 10-0 Hibs.
10-0. I'm gonna play it safe and say 6-0 Hibs. I think we're definitely going to win. If we get knocked out of this cup by Gartcairn, I think massive questions need to be asked.
I think.
But we'll get through. We'll get through. Anyway, that brings us towards the end of the episode. But before we finish, we've got a wee quiz. Jack's on the quiz this episode, so I'll hand it over to you, Jack.
Right, so yeah, we've got the Hibs quiz. My turn as a quiz master today. So I've got some good questions for Charlie and Calvin to test their Hibs knowledge. It's a 6-question quiz, 3 questions on the men, 3 questions on the women.
It's just the same amount of goals that we put past the Hertz that time, that game, 6.
Yep, exactly. And there's a tie-break question if need be. So let's jump right into it. So, question numero uno. So I thought I better have a question that links Hibs to my other great passion, East German football. So here we go. So the High Bees travelled behind the Iron. So this is multiple choice, by the way, this question. The High Bees travelled behind the Iron Curtain to East Germany in the 1968 Fairs Cup, but who did we face? A. Dynamo Dresden, B. Wismut Karl-Marxstadt, or C. 1st FC Lokomotiv Leipzig. I'll go to Calvin first. A, B, or C?
B.
Right, so you think Wismut Karl-Marxstadt. Charlie?
I remember it well.
A. I was. My granddad was. I'm joking. A for me.
So you're going for Dynamo Dresden. I can say that you're both wrong.
Oh, for
Hibs played Lokomotiv Leipzig and we put them out. We beat them at the Zentralstadion and at Easter Road. And we crossed through the famous checkpoint Charlie, which is, of course, one of those symbols of the Cold War. So move on. See, there's a checkpoint named after you, mate.
Aye, that's the only thing I'm getting about me in this quiz.
So we'll move on to the second question. This is multiple choice as well. So Hibs lifted their first Scottish Cup in 1887, but who did we beat in the final? A. Queen's Park, B. Dumbarton, or C. Clydebank? I'll go to Charlie first.
C, I think.
Right, Calvin?
I think it's also Clydebank.
They're both wrong. It was Dumbarton.
This is the worst quiz ever. My head knowledge is terrible for like
we
things
beat
in the past.
Dumbarton to lift our first Scottish Cup in 1887. So
I think we can. I think we should think of a new segment, Calvin.
So third question. Last question on the Hibs men. Laurie Riley is the most capped Hibs player for Scotland. How many Scotland caps did Riley pick up? Now, to give you a chance, I'll give whoever gets the closest a point. So I'll come to Calvin first. How many Scotland caps do you think Laurie Riley had? Our most capped player for Scotland.
56.
Right, Charlie?
67.
I can reveal that Calvin is the closest, so he gets the point. It's 38. Laurie Riley had 38 Scotland caps.
Oh, I thought he would have had a wee bit more than that.
So it's 1-0 Calvin at the minute. We'll now move on to Hibs women. So Hibs women faced a star-studded Bayern Munich team in the first round of the Champions League in 2016. What was the score at Easter Road? Closest guess gets the point again. So come to Charlie first.
I think I remember it. I think it was 4-1 to Bayern.
Right. Calvin?
I think we lost. Is it 6?
You saying 6? 6-0?
I'll go 6. I
can reveal that Calvin is correct. We lost to Bayern 6-0. But Charlie...
Was it home, eh?
Yeah, it was at home. Charlie got the away leg score.
Yeah.
You got the away leg score. We lost 4-1.
I knew we lost 4-1 in one of the games.
We lost 4-1 in Munich. So
10-1 in aggregate.
We lost 6-0 at Easter Road and then lost 4-1. Abby Harrison scored our only goal in Munich. So we'll now move on. So it's 2-0 Calvin. So it's looking like we only need the tiebreaker unless Charlie gets these two right. So number 5, this one's multiple choice. So 2 Hibs women players were included in Scotland's 2019 Women's World Cup squad. Who were they? Was it A. Siobhan Hunter and Shannon McGregor, B. Joelle Murray and Jenna Fife, or C. Amy Gallagher and Leah Eddy? We'll come to Calvin first.
B.
Right, and Charlie?
It's B.
Okay, well done. So you're both correct. Joelle Murray and Jenna Fife neither played a single game, but did travel to France with us. So you could say they were on the plane to France, like Will Grigg. So we'll cut the final question. So it's 2-1 to Calvin. It's 3-1 Calvin. So Charlie, you're just playing for pride now. What Czech side did Hibs women face in the 2019 Champions League round of 32? Come to Charlie first.
Sparta Prague.
Calvin?
I think Charlie's right. The only Czech team I can, Sparta Prague.
It was the other side of the Prague derby. Slavia Prague. So we've lost 4-1 at Easter Road after going 1-0 up. I can't mind what the score was over in Prague. I think it was 3-1 to Slavia. So there you go. That concludes the quiz, and I can reveal that Calvin won 3-1. None of
Good job, Calv.
the questions right about Hibs men. Calvin was the closest. But it's good to know that at least Calvin can remember that Bayern Munich game. So there we go. That concludes my quiz.
One of my mates at uni, his dad worked with Hibs women somehow, and he was got the game, and I remember him telling me about it. And,
so there you go. So Bayern had the likes of Vivian Miedema, and because they've good Dutch striker, and Melanie Leopold is at Chelsea now in that team. So a good Bayern team. So that concludes the quiz. Calvin wins my quiz 3-1.
Good job, Calvin.
Much like the replay at Easter Road when we played the Herts. No, that was that was the season after. Much when we played the Herts at Easter Road 3-1. So yeah, that concludes my quiz. Now, do you want to just see if Charlie can get the tie-break question right? Just so we feel, just so he can give a bit of a pat on the head. How many times have Hibs won the League Cup?
4.
3.
Oh, you bastard.
1973, 1991 and 2007.
Sorry, I'd counted this year's, because we should have won it this year. But
so, no, didn't try and deflect now, Charlie. Anyway, so that concludes the quiz. Well done to Calvin, our winner this week.
Hey.
So I'll hand back to Charlie after his humiliation.
I'm going to save myself the embarrassment by talking about that. Anyway, we'll be back on Monday reviewing the Arbroath game and the Gartcairn game and looking ahead to our next game, which is Ross County on the Saturday. And until I've also got a special episode next week as well, Jack. Will we mention that or we'll leave it till Monday?
Oh, well, we'll mention it now. We've got Hibs women star defender Leah Eddy coming on for a chat. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It'll be great to hear from Leah all about getting into the Scotland squad and her time at Hibs as well. So keep your eyes peeled, and we're looking forward to having Leah on.
Aye, and we've also got a few other special episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks as well that we'll be able to share very soon, and we'll probably post about them on Twitter and whatever. But until next time, come on, Hibs. Hey,